What's up, everyone? I am the Comic Outlaw. Yes, yes, yes. And we're moving along with our toy adventure. Yes, we came across a treasure trove of swag. A lot of it had to do with the X-Men. And I know Hickman's run, they're doing this new thing with the X-Men where they're expanding, Mega Mutant and all this other crap. Which I have a feeling is going to get relaunched and none of it's going to matter in 6 months. I don't know. I'm not a real big fan of what's going on now, but I do love classic X-Men. And we're bringing something from the Chris Claremont era again. Another guy that came from the 80s. Forge. Forge is a very unique mutant. He has the ability, like basically he's super smart. So he can make machines, develop machines. Basically, his mutant ability gives his mind the ability to create these machines. Without his mutant ability, he would have kind of just average intelligence. I get well, not average, but he wouldn't have like Tony Stark brilliance. He'd be more like a professor that lectures. Like Indiana Jones more over than Tony Stark. Now, aside from that, he's also a gifted shaman, and he does have a great link to magic and sorcery, the spirit world. He was actually taught to use it for a while, and then he went to Vietnam, which was the name of the war was changed, I think. Wait, no, that was in DC. Vietnam exists in Marvel, where he lost his hand and his leg, which he built replacements for by releasing the shaman spell. The kind of like demons that came out and like killed all the soldiers that were messing with him, but it killed everyone else around him, including his troop, and it opened this door for this creature called the Adversary. And we'll talk about the Adversary a little later. The Adversary was this creature from beyond, kind of like the Shadow King, one of those beings from the psychic realm. And he ends up escaping. He ends up working for the government because Iron Man kind of decides that he doesn't want to make weapons. Just like in the movie, he's not making weapons anymore. So they bring in the next, S.H.I.E.L.D. brings in the next best thing, Forge. And Forge basically just starts developing weapons, making weapons. He works for different groups, always kind of like on the side of angels, doing his own thing at times. He actually causes kind of builds like a mutant ray or something like that, and he means to fire it at Rogue, but Storm ends up getting in the way and she loses her powers for a short time. So powerless Storm, she had the Mohawk then, and then she had the Mohawk when she got her powers back. Her and Forge kind of form a relationship because he meets the Adversary. 9 of the X-Men supposedly die. Wolverine, Colossus, Nightcrawler, I think Dazzler, a couple other people. They all supposedly die, but they're actually resurrected by Romana, who is the guardian of the outside multiverse, because in Marvel, back in the day, all these multiverses were like separate bottles, and they were all guarded in this room by this sorcerer and this chick. What can I tell you all? Comics. Excalibur actually does a wonderful job in covering. That's why I so want to cover Excalibur. I keep talking about that. But anyways, they get resurrected. They're set up on Australia. I actually like those issues. They're kind of funny. They decided to remain dead for a while. Forge is beside himself with that. Let's see. He ends up fighting the Adversary. Him and Storm get sent to another dimension where they spend like a year together, I guess. A year there, and they get brought back. They were kind of in love. They break up. He gets into a fight with Magic because Magic thought that she killed Colossus, and Magic is, of course, the sister of Colossus. And as you guys have known from my videos, certain alternate reality ones are pretty vengeful. That's why I was looking behind my back during our first interview in our X-Men show that you guys should watch. The 2-hour one is The Dream Dead. We will be coming up with another one soon. Whew, this guy has a sordid past, y'all. He's been used a lot. Eventually, he kind of goes for the group called the Freedom Fighters, or kind of like helps them sort of as an advisor, like the Suicide Squad, where had the Blob, Pyro. They're basically bad guys pretending to be good guys, but sort of working for the government, yet not. Anyways, X-Factor, the original X-Factor with Cyclops, the original X-Men, folds back into X-Men, and they become X-Men Blue and X-Men Gold. Forge takes over a different version of X Factor where they kind of combine the Freedom Force elements, where it's sort of like the Suicide Squad, where it had Sabretooth and Mesquite, and she didn't want to work for them because he was sort of responsible for her girl Destiny kind of dying. So it was kind of a vengeance kick right there. Forge has done a lot of things either by mistake or accident. His hubris sometimes gets the best of him. But he's all in all a good character. He's one of those. He's like Doom. He plays both in the mystical and spiritual world, which is always cool. His Native American background made him unique for that time and this time. He's a wonderful, grounded character. He's been used a lot in Hickman for obvious reasons. His building abilities. And Forge is kind of one of those mavericks that seems to get hired out for different agencies, groups, governments. They can always count on this man to do something, or he's always worked in one team or the other. And yes, this is Forge. Get a good look at him. In the old toys, the Toy Biz toys, you can actually see his metal hand. They covered it up with a glove here, but you can see his metal leg, which he lost when he released that portal. And like I said, it's very interesting to actually pick up. Chris Claremont, who ran X-Men for a long time, wrote a lot of great stories. It was very interesting, and it's nice that they brought in Storm, which Storm just oof. But yeah. And before we crack it open, and it comes with a Caliban piece, and check it out. Go through it. Comes with a few guns, the arm, and this one doesn't come with as much accessories as some of the other ones do, but sometimes a lot of accessories doesn't mean that it's actually good. Sometimes you just gotta keep it simple. In the other toy, it only came with a gun, I think. So this is just cut and dry Forge. But let's pop them open. Yeah. Gonna rip it up. Gonna shake it up. Gonna rip it up. Have fun tonight. Yeah. Do that. Okay, I like how these ones pop out. It has like really no strings. You see my show, you know I hate those strings. Let's pop out the arm first. And the arm, so build a figure. I'm not really too enthused. I like a lot of the toys that are in this set. Like I said before, a lot of the toys are really good. Like I have a few of them already, but like for character builds, is I'm buying it more for the figures than the toy. But or the big toy. Let's pop these out. Now Forge has a variety of weapons. He can build a variety of things. Usually he builds like guns. He improves on machinery. He doesn't really build like Iron Man suits so much. Like he does inventions, computers, hacking. He builds devices, guns. Like he built that gun that allowed Storm to powers. See, this one was a lot easier. Classic look for Forge. I do believe this is his X Factor costume, which he had later on. A little stiff, but it's not bad. See, fairly posable. Check it out. I like how the metal leg goes all the way around. Let's see. It comes with two guns. See if we get them in there. Now, some toys, and I do have a Namor where his lance was a pain in the rear to put on. Seems like this gun's going on, rather smoothly. Small gun, Let's see if I can get the other one on. Takes a little more doing, but check it out. Yeah, I will be posing him, kind of like moving him around a little bit more. And we talked about him before. He's nice to have around. Good all-around character. Very unique for the X-Men. Since Beast is more in genetics and other things like that, he's more of the tech guy. And his intelligence is up there with Stark. He just focuses on different things. He was instrumental in the Hickman run recently for redoing Cerebro. And he's just a genius by trade. And it would be cool if they focused on some on the shaman powers. They've touched on that before. It would be cool to see again. And yes, this is Forge from the Build-A-Figure set, Marvel Legends X Factor costume. Recommend checking him out. The Chris Claremont years, of course, and his run on X Factor is pretty cool. And as always, this is your main man, the Comic Outlaw. Drop us a like and subscribe. Check us out. Look at our other stories. And as always, I will catch you on the flip side. Laters.